As a CEO, your most valuable asset is your time. But the reality is that most of us don't actually even realize that we're wasting it. In this episode, I'll share with you 5 key tips on how you can make sure that you manage your time more effectively as a real CEO and not just as a busy founder. Number 1, you need to establish pillars. As a CEO, naturally you will have lots to do. There's going to be different divisions, there's going to be different products, there's going to be different people, and ultimately there's going to be things that come up all the time. What you must have at all times is you must have a mental framework for which you can understand how is my company set up, what are the things that I need to do. But without that, you'll find that you'll get dragged in a million different directions without knowing for sure what is the purpose of what you're doing and how are you prioritizing the important things. See, in my business, for example, I need to make sure that I have a very clear understanding of what are my 4, if not 5, key divisions, and what are my 6, if not 7, different projects that I'm involved in. And every time I find myself to be a little bit confused in terms of what's the next thing I need to focus on, I feel like there's too much going on. I sit down and I write everything on a piece of paper and I make sure that I start from the pillars. I have this division, this division, this division, and then I figure out what to do underneath. Or I go, I have this task, and this task, and I figure out what to do in terms of the to-do list for each one of these. So establish your pillars and work from there. Number 2, discipline is key. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but I listen to a lot of motivational content, and one line that keeps coming up amongst different podcasts that I listen to, there's a quote from Mike Tyson that says, "I don't care who you are, I don't think how good you are. Without discipline, you're nothing." Now that couldn't be truer for a CEO. The truth of the matter is you can be very talented, you can be very smart, you can be very persuasive, but unless you have discipline to put in particular processes and make sure that you have consistency with them, then you'll find yourself being dragged in a million different directions. And as opposed to being effective and productive with your time, you're just going to be busy. Point number 3, and this is actually one of my favorite ones. The 9 to 5 is an absolute myth. There's no such thing as a 9 to 5 if you're a CEO or even if you're a founder. You are hoping to disrupt markets. You are hoping to establish your business against all odds. And you're doing that not only in a competitive marketplace, but you're also doing that because you're going against the grain. How can you possibly expect to achieve great things if all you're willing to do is a 9 to 5? That just isn't the truth. Now, you can manage your time effectively and you can be very productive, but you have to accept that working 9 to 5 is a myth. The good thing is some days you'll only work 9 to 2. But if the situation requires it, you need to be willing to work from 7 to 8. Or you need to be working from 10 in the morning to 2 in the morning the following day. That's just the reality of being CEO and being a founder. And rather than fighting against it, just remember there is a reason why you're doing it. Embrace it and just crack on. Tip number 4, you need to find balance. As a CEO and as a founder, I completely understand the temptation that you might have to want to go at 100 miles an hour all the time. I had the same impulse for many, many years. What I eventually found out is that it's not sustainable. And in this game, what you need is longevity and consistency. And the best way to do that is to find a way where you can incorporate other elements of your life, whether that be physical activity, whether that be time with friends, or whether that be time with your family, so that you can be as effective as possible because you're well balanced. You have good mental health, you have good physical health, and you can go the distance rather than just crashing out. 5th and final tip for the day. Don't overestimate what you can achieve in a day and underestimate what you can achieve in 1 or maybe even 10 years. See, over the years of running this business, I've encountered a lot of CEOs, I've encountered a lot of directors and managers. And what they very often do is they'll obsess on what's being done on that day or on that week. And they won't take a longer perspective on achieving a particular goal. Make sure that you give yourself enough time to achieve clear objectives. Make sure that those are big objectives and understand that because they are big, they're going to take some time to pull off. So don't get bogged down on the day. Look at the year, look at your 10-year plan, and don't underestimate what you can achieve during that time. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you on the next episode with Paolo Emilio Zanini.